Ah, yes, another beautiful day to spend some time in the garage. Let's go to it. Okay, so today I'm going to go over how to replace a Weathermatic Turbo 3 pop-up rotor. I'm not going to replace the entire unit. I'm going to go ahead and replace just the inside, the rotor itself. I'm not going to replace this, the canister that hooks up to the actual irrigation line, because I don't want to dig into the ground and deal with all that stuff. I'm just going to replace this inside piece right here. I'm going to show you all everything that came in the kit that I ordered. I just ordered this one on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description. But you know, basically it's just the Weathermatic Turbo 3 pop-up rotor. There's the part number information, and then the cost. You can see not very expensive, especially if you want to replace one of these yourself. You don't have to call up a irrigation company to come out and have a service fee and all that stuff. So things that came in the kit includes the rotor itself, so you can see what that looks like. There's also several different nozzles, and Weathermatic has a nice installation guide which explains what each of these nozzles, the radius of the arc and the gallons per hour. What else? I can't remember. I'll put an image of the PDF up so you can see that. Then they've also got this tool here, this little Allen key that you use to lock in the nozzles. So once that's up, this Allen key goes right in the top right here, and then that is used to tighten that set screw right there. So once you get your nozzle in, you'll use that, and that locks in the nozzle once that's installed. The other side of this tool right here goes right in. There's a little X. Let's see if I can. Yep, that goes right into this X, and once you get it in here, you rotate it, you push it all the way down, rotate it, and that makes it so you can pull the sprinkler head up if you need to work on it after you put it in the ground. So that's kind of a neat little feature. And then lastly, they've got this collar that you can, if you need to do some work on it, you can put this collar in place and it'll hold up the sprinkler so you can work on the nozzle or anything else that you need to do. So those are all the things that were included in the kit. This should make it easy for us to swap this out. So the reason I'm replacing mine is the sprinkler is just continuing to go a full 360 and then back around. And the area that I've got it in, I only need a 90-degree turn, so I want to get this new one and replace it. So let's go to it. Okay, so now we're going to head over to the suspect sprinkler rotor. We're going to go ahead and pull it up and take out the old rotor. We're going to leave the housing that screws into the irrigation line. We're going to leave that in the ground. We're just going to replace the rotor itself. So let me get set up here and we'll pull it out. So the first thing we're going to do is just pull back some of the grass and dirt so that we can actually get access to the collar that screws down onto the sprinkler housing, because we are going to need to remove that completely. So you want to just pull back enough dirt so that when you get it off, the dirt doesn't fall back into the housing and clog up your sprinkler housing. So we're just going to dig down a little ways and do that. Okay, so all we really need to do here is just unthread this collar portion. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this up just so I can try and this. Should be able to pull it right out once we get it unscrewed. No trouble. And I'm just gonna try and move a lot of this dirt out of the way so that it doesn't fall back into the sprinkler housing once I remove the rotor itself. So oddly enough, we got the whole thing. So we'll just replace the whole thing. Let's go over to the shop so that we can figure out which nozzle we're gonna put in there, get that swapped out, and then we'll just screw the whole thing in. Easy peasy. Okay, so we've got the old rotor taken out of the ground, and what we need to do now is fit the new nozzle into the new rotor. So I want to match, in this situation, I want to match exactly the nozzle that was in there. The distance and coverage was good. And if you look real closely in here, let's see if I can get it to focus. There's a number in the corner that tells you which nozzle it is. I'll show you on the other one here. This is a 3.0, and that one is 2.5. Here it is over here. 3.5, 2.0, 3.0, 2.5. Here it is, right here. 3.0. So let me see if I can get that to zoom in for you. See right over here, it tells you the number right there, 3.0. That's what's currently in this rotor, and like I said, the coverage is good, so we're gonna go with that one. So I'm just gonna go ahead and break it off of this plastic tree. There we go. We'll clean up the little extra flashing there. Okay, cool. So now what we need to do is get that inside this rotor. So I'm going to use the tool that they provided, because why not? And we'll just stick it in there, rotate it until it hooks on. Go like that. Pull it up, and I'll hold on to it by hand, and then I'll slip this collar on. There we go. And now I can release that. Here we go. Now we can work on the rotor. All right, so what's got to happen here is there's what they refer to as an ear. Here we go. See that piece? That needs to be facing up inside the rotor like this. So, you see that? Perfect. All right, so this is where that set screw comes into play. So I had tightened it a little bit. I'm going to loosen it back up, push this into place, push it right down in there, and then you can see right there how that set screw is going to tighten and keep this from falling out in the future. And it does warn you in the instructions, or the PDF that I'm going to provide, it warns to not over tighten. Alright, and we should be good to go. We'll just take off this tool that holds it in place while we're working on it. Just peel that off. And then we can just go screw that right back in. So before we install this, I do want to do some initial setup on this. So the way that you adjust this rotor, they have several different settings here for you, and you can see it on this little textured collar. There's like a half moon, 3/4 of a moon. Let's see if we can get this to focus for you. There we go. Looks like Pac-Man kind of. There's the half moon, and then there's 90 degrees. So what you gotta do is you gotta, while holding on to the bottom part there's a arrow right here next to this number, and you gotta hold the textured portion right here, and then you're gonna adjust the top part to line up with what you want. So I'm just gonna twist that arrow to line up with I only need about a 90 degree because this is in the side yard, so I lined up that arrow with the 90 degree. So there, hopefully you can see that. And then what we'll do is we'll adjust the start and stop points once we get it installed in the ground. And that's just by, the way that you do that is just by turning the whole unit. So. All right, let's get back out to our hole in the ground. So here we go. I'm just gonna go ahead and install this new rotor, give it a test, set up the pattern, make sure it's shooting water where we want it, and we'll be all done. Very easy, anybody can do this. So here we go, we just need to get this into that hole. Now they do make a special wrench for this, but I think it was like 60 or 70 bucks, so I'm not gonna pay that. This should do it. I got it tightened in there. What I'm gonna do right now is I'm just gonna lift it up so that I can find the start and stop points, and then I'll adjust the rotor as needed. So that's the stop point over there, so I'll just turn the whole thing, and I'm gonna have it go about that direction, turn it, and then stop there, set it down. So let's go ahead and turn on the sprinklers and see how it works. So the sprinkler is spraying no problem. I'm just needing to adjust exactly where it's spraying. I really don't want it to go much more than right there, and you can see that it is going beyond that spot a little ways. So all we need to do, it's actually going beyond it quite a bit. So what we need to do is just take the whole head, turn it, and that's where it's gonna start. So what I'm gonna do, you can see where it's gonna start. I want it to go about that far, so I'm just gonna take the whole thing and twist it all together. So when I say the whole thing, I'm talking about I'm gonna grab this part and this part and spin them both together as one unit. If I was to adjust this separate from that, that's just gonna change how wide of a pattern it goes. So you can see we've got this arrow lined up just beyond the 90-degree pattern, so ideally this should stop about right here now. So let's see how far it goes. So it went a little bit further than I wanted to, so what I'm going to do now is I need to adjust these independent of each other. I'm going to move this arrow probably to just about right there on that 90-degree marker. Okay, so let me get this set up, I'll show you. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to hold on to this piece, and we're actually going to spin the two independent of each other. Now you can see that arrow is about lined up with the 90-degree mark. I'm going to go just under that. So see, that line is now lined up just beyond the 90-degree mark. So now we'll watch this. We don't want this spraying too much further than just beyond here. And the sprinkler just turned off, but there you can see that it worked. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it back on. Alright, so we've got this sprinkler adjusted just the way we want it. It's going just to the outside edge of this flower bed here, and then it's going to come back and it's going to hit just to the inside edge of this flower bed right here. So let's go ahead and just inspect, watch one more time, and make sure it's doing exactly what we need. I went ahead and put the dirt and sod back around that sprinkler head so the grass will get back in there and it'll look like there's nothing there at all. So let's watch this. Perfect. You can see it's just spraying to the inside edge of that flower bed and then back the other way. That's exactly what we needed to do. Alright, there we go. So hope you enjoyed that. I'm going to put links to all the sprinklers and tools that I use. And hopefully that helps you. If you got any questions or comments, go ahead and feel free to leave them below. And we'll see you on the next one. In fact, actually I'll give you a sneak preview. The next video that I'm going to do, I've got a maxi paw right here that has been giving me some problems. Rainbird maxi paw, and I just need to replace the rotor inside this one, so that'll be the next video.